like to see what it looks like, and I like to see the final product. I'm not one of those actors that claims, oh, I can't watch myself on film, it's too difficult. It's like, I don't even know what that means, it's too difficult. But there's some things that you already know how it's going to look, and other things that you're curious. But it is difficult to get lost in the story because it's so familiar. You know, it's hard for me to invest in a character when it's me. You know, it's hard for me to lose myself in that story. But out of a weird curiosity, yeah, you end up watching everything. But it's not like I can watch some of the films and get lost in the story because it's you. You know, it's just kind of odd in that respect. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
You said you're an adrenaline junkie. What's the most fearless thing you've ever done?
What's the most
fearless thing you've ever done?
Famous?
Fearless.
Fearless.
Fearless?
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, there's young kids in the room. I've done some, you know, I've done some crazy stuff in my time. Some things that I look back at and think, wow, God, you're an idiot. You're lucky to be alive. Probably, you know, I was really naive growing up as a kid, but this kind of sums up my whole life. I went to my first concert. I grew up in Texas, a small town in Texas where you didn't have to lock your doors. You left the car door open when you went to the grocery store. You know, everybody knew your name. And I went to my first concert when I was 9 years old, and it was a Foghat concert. I don't know if you guys know this band, Foghat. But my mom drove me in the station wagon to the Houston Coliseum. Now, because I came from a small town, Houston was like a big city. And Houston's very different than growing up in a small town. It's a proper city where there's danger and everything else. So I went into this concert. My mom waited for me outside the Coliseum for when it got done. And she gave me like an extra $7 to get a t-shirt. And so I went in and I watched the concert and I bought my t-shirt. And when I came out, this big kid, I say big kid, he was probably like 16 or 17, I'm like 9 years old. And well, one of my claim to fame is I held the national record in the 100-yard dash. I ran track when I was 9, I was on a track team, like the fastest kid in the nation. And this kid came out and he goes, hey dude, you got a shirt? I was like, yeah. He goes, can I see it? I'm like, yeah. And I handed him my shirt. And this dude turned around and started running. Well, I come from a town where nobody does anything bad. So I ran after him. I chased this dude all the way around to the back of the Coliseum where there's grazed bayou. There's no lights, it's pitch black, there's a bayou, there's swamp and everything. I ran him down, dove on him, tackled him. Boom! He did a face plant on the hard rocks. And I'll never forget this guy's face when he turned and looked at me. He turned and went. And I was like, oh, that was pretty stupid of me to chase this guy back behind where there's, you know, I grabbed my shirt and I took off running. I'd like to say it was like macho, but it wasn't. I'm like, my bottom lip was up. I was like, I ran all the way back and jumped in the station wagon, but that kind of sums it up. You know, I've been one of those guys that kind of does it and then thinks about it later. You know, hopefully in my old age now, I've you know, indoctrinated a little bit more rational approach, but yeah, everything like that. That's kind of the stupid things that I do. I leap in and think later, you know. Anybody else?